But this leads me into our lead story of the day regarding the Biden administration forgiving unlimited amount of student loan debt for teachers, public employees, and nonprofit workers. As I go through this, God, I hope you're sitting down because the amount of money that's being spent here is crazy. You thought the $10,000 and the $20,000 student debt forgiveness with the Pell Grants and such was a lot? This doesn't even scratch the surface, folks, for what we're about to cover right here with the American Federation of Teachers Union saying its lobbying is to thank for the Biden administration's dramatic expansion of a program that forgives an unlimited amount of student loans for public employees, and that one teacher used it to get out of $450,000 in obligations. Yes, you heard that correctly. It is not $4,500. It's not $45,000. No. $450,000 just from one teacher. It is a move that is separate from the widely publicized $10,000 forgiveness, but in many ways, obviously, as you just heard, is more radical. The Biden administration used a waiver, I'm going to put that in air quotes, to stop enforcing the rules of an existing program that allows people to have all remaining student loans forgiven after 10 years of working for the government or a nonprofit. The lack of enforcement expanded the pool of those eligible so dramatically that it forgave $9 billion just last year. That's compared to $1 billion total in the program's previous history. So since the inception of that program, $1 billion had been forgiven. Just last year alone, because of the Biden administration, it's 9x'd itself, $9 billion just last year. The program arose from a 2007 law and is called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness, PSLF program. In a Labor Day message, Union President Randy Weingarten said the union's lobbying, which was also a leading cause of keeping schools closed due to coronavirus, was also responsible for the giveaway, which largely benefited the union's members. The union played a role in helping elect Joe Biden, which we all know about. The teachers union, especially in California, is one of the most powerful unions to ever exist. And they just basically go pure Democrat. Quote, we work directly with the Biden administration on behalf of PSLF fixes and the recent game-changing announcement on student debt cancellation. Through the AFT's advocacy around PSLF, $10 billion of student debt has been forgiven for 175,000 public service workers so far. Here's just one example. This summer, we helped an AFT member in California wipe out her $450,000 student debt. The average discharge under waivers was $61,000, according to the most recent data provided by the department. That's far greater than the $10,000 offered to non-government employees. $61,000 compared to $10,000, folks, big, vast difference. This is all obviously under the Biden administration's plan, unlike that plan that we saw with the $10,000 and $20,000 that had higher income than the $125,000 are eligible. Weingarten, who does not have children, made $534,000 himself in 2020, and that's according to tax filings. You want to see the graph here? I mean, it speaks for itself. Let's just show it. I mean, you have in blue the PSLF, okay? This is kind of the previous, since its inception, right? That blue right there was the 1 billion, okay? Then you had a little bit of an expansion taking place, a temporary expansion, and it kind of increased just a little bit. Look at what Biden did with the waiver. I mean, it's not even close. It's a vertical spike. We call that usually an anomaly. Something happened, something took place. The thing that took place in a nutshell was redistribution of wealth. You as the taxpayer paying for all these people's education degrees. Now, a little bit about me. My bachelor's is in accounting. I went to USC to get my master's in teaching. And let me tell you, folks, my master's in teaching was dramatically easier than anything I've ever done in accounting. Like it was, I got a 4.0. I mean, it was just easy. I graduated literally at the top 5% of my class. Is that an accomplishment? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like I did nothing, but I'm just putting in comparison to what I had to do before. It was easy. And that leads into a moment here that I want to talk about with a study from 2011. We'll get there in just one moment. The waiver was justified by coronavirus, but is still in effect for the next 2 months, even though almost no one is currently unable to earn income because of the pandemic, because of the coronavirus. And this is kind of this wish-washy thing, read in the wind that the Biden administration has been doing. You had Peter Doocy calling them out regarding Title 42, or actually it was Jackie Henrich, forgive me, both of Fox News, calling the Biden administration out and saying, look, why is it removing Title 42 okay, but all of a sudden, because of the pandemic pandemic and coronavirus, now you're going to implement this and say people are having a disruption because of the pandemic and coronavirus. So you're only using it to your advantage to push a narrative that you want. But when it goes against your narrative, like Title 42, you just want to remove it. So this is what they're doing. It's unbelievable how they're just getting away with all of this. Quote, we urge eligible student loan borrowers to apply for public service loan forgiveness waiver, even if you have been denied before. Don't delay. The waiver program expires October 31st. Basically, get in while the getting is good. Grab the money while you can, because the redistribution of wealth is only for a limited time. It basically expires on Halloween. How fitting, right? Forgiving unlimited student loans could incentivize people to attend expensive college for far longer than they need to and rack up useless degrees with taxpayers saddled with all of it after 10 years in the classroom. The Congressional Budget Office has flagged the issue of individual people discharging huge amounts, saying that modifying the program to institute a limit of $57,000 could help rein in the federal deficit. I don't think you should have student loan forgiveness at all. You took it out by yourself. I know I'm beating a dead horse with this for those that have been a long-time listeners of the Bald Brad Show. You took out the loan. Why is us as a taxpayer responsible for it? I had a $62,000 loan to get my master's degree in education. I don't expect any of you to pay for that. It was my obligation. It was my liability, not yours. But that's how the Democrat Party works. Redistribution of wealth to equalize everybody. Even if you never went to college, even if you never got a higher education degree, you're still responsible for all those that did. Ironically, this is where I'm going in with the whole idea of my master's degree compared to my bachelor's. A study by a teachers union indicates that there are few academic benefits to majoring in education. A 2011 study by other major teacher unions, the National Education Association, showed that majoring in education in college correlated statistically with doing worse on teaching exams. Undergraduate education majors scored worse on teacher certification exams than those who majored in anything else, it found. According to the College Board, students intending on majoring in education have among the lowest SAT scores of any major. Yet another study found they graduate with the highest GPAs, indicating that 4 expensive years of college have little rigor. Like I said, master's degree, super easy. Bachelor's degree in accountancy, a lot harder than that master's degree. As data has mounted, the school closures were devastating to children, particularly poor children. The teacher unions have publicly sought to minimize their role in forcing extended closures. But in the message sent to members, it is said, we fight for safe working conditions, not just for ourselves, but for the safety of our students. And they're going to continue to chaperone and charade these things. They are one of the most powerful unions in the entire world. And they're going to push their agenda. And those that want to push their agenda with them are the Democrat Party. Some things they push obviously is good. It's good for the workers, it's good for the teachers, and it is good for the students. Some things they push, quite frankly, folks, aren't good. This is one of them. You shouldn't be liable for somebody else's debt. And like I've said countless times, why are we stopping at student debt forgiveness? Why aren't we going for the mortgages? Why aren't we going for financing cars? Why are we only stopping here, especially when it doesn't have any benefit because you went for basket weaving as a major and now you're teaching that in the classroom? So there you have it with unlimited student debt. It ends at least October 31st. We'll see if they expand that and extend it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did under this current administration. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.